נעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
How good and how pleasant it is that we've gathered here today inside the Conan Friedkin Sanctuary, related to the Brodie family here, to celebrate the B'nai Mitzvah of Spencer and Ryan, and also Jaclyn. So we're thrilled that Jaclyn's participating in this as well, making it a full family affair. So Shabbat Shalom, welcome to one and all. It's so good to have you all here in our sanctuary, and for those who are viewing us on our live stream, Shabbat Shalom and welcome. For those on the live stream, if you'd like to be able to follow along in a virtual prayer book, you can access that from the CBI, the Congregation B'nai Israel website at cbiboca.org. There should be a link on the front page for the worship and virtual prayer book, and you can join us and follow along on the pages as well. For those who've joined us in the sanctuary, hopefully you grabbed a prayer book as you entered, so it should say Mishkan Tefillah, the Reform Movement's prayer book for Shabbat, and you can follow along as well. But before we begin our service this morning, what we are going to do is invite Jason and Jaclyn to come up and present to their children, to Spencer and Ryan, their talis on this wonderful occasion of them becoming bar and bat mitzvah. So Jason, Jaclyn, Ryan, Spencer, come on up to the table. And Ryan and Spencer, why don't you do that in English for everyone so that they can follow along in the blessing. And that's in the prayer book, if you don't have it, right there on page 72. Right on the sheet there, it's in the English.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, survey our universe, who hollows with us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes.
Amen. And we're going to invite Jaclyn's father Charles up, because Jaclyn too is going to celebrate this wonderful occasion, and he's going to present to Jaclyn a talit on this wonderful occasion as well. So we're good. So everyone should understand that when one becomes of age in Judaism, bar or bat mitzvah, traditionally 13 years of age, one can be called up and start to observe the commandments. And this is the commandment to wrap ourselves in the fringes, in the fringe garment that we call a talit.
Got this. Ready?
Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tivanu v'haltu ner.
Lehitatef batzitzit.
I'm sorry about that. Lehitate batzitzit.
Amen. And for all who are here, Cantor's going to, we're going to all celebrate by joining in with the Shehechianu prayer, thanking God for enabling us to reach this most blessed and joyous occasion with Spencer, with Ryan, and with Jaclyn.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Everyone's going to take their seat once again. Actually, and I'm going to invite the entire congregation to please rise and turn to page 108. For on page 108, we find the formal call to our morning worship, the Baruch Hu. So let's all rise. Spencer, Ryan, let's stand up as Cantor continues on page 108 with the Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach LeOlam Va'ed Lai 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 Lai
Please be seated, and let's turn in the prayer books to page 110. There in the middle of the page in English, we join together. Praised are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, O God, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you form them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. And now on the top of 112, we continue, Ahava Rabbah Tanu Adonai Eloheinu. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Going to continue with Ha'erinenu?
והארנו בתורתך ודבק בנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people, Israel, in love. Ryan Spencer, we'd want to please come on up to the podium and help lead our entire congregation. Ryan Spencer, come on up. Page 114, as we're going to continue with the Shema, the declaration of our faith. Together, where we go? 1, 2, 3.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Rosh Hashanah, Mahutel, Leolam Va'ed.
And let's continue as cantor on the top of 116. We all join in with the chanting of the V'ahavta prayer.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם מאחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 121. There at the bottom of the page in English, we continue. The eternal truth is that you alone are God. There is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God. We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. We continue on page 122. As Cantor continues with the song of redemption, the song our ancestors sang in glory to God as they went free out of Egypt on the way to the promised land.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה, שבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודבים ליחו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צו ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, לפתחנו מכה יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
O Rock of Israel, arise in support of Israel and redeem Judah and Israel as you promised. Our Redeemer, Adonai Tzvaot, Lord of hosts is your name. Blessed are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. We reach now the central prayer of our morning service, as it is the central prayer of all three of the worship services in Judaism. Our ancient rabbi simply referred to it as Hatfilah, the prayer, because it is considered the prayer par supreme of our liturgy. It's also known in our tradition as the Amidah, the standing prayer. For whenever Jews recite this prayer, wherever they are, in this land, in Israel, throughout the world, Jews stand together in solidarity, always turned toward Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, our eternal city. So at this time, on page 124, I'm going to invite the congregation to kindly rise as we now incline our hearts in the prayer. Page 124.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Mekonei Hakol, v'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
From pages 132 to 142, we continue silently offering these or any other prayers that from your heart. And when you finish your silent reflection and prayer, please once again be seated. Cantor continues with a plea for peace and wholeness as we conclude our silent prayer.
Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
May the one who makes peace in the high heavens allow that peace to descend upon us, Israel, and we pray the whole world, and we say, Amen. So just over 3 weeks ago, we celebrated the holiday of Simchat Torah, rejoicing of Torah. That holiday marks the end of the cycle, the yearly cycle of reading the entire Torah, and the beginning anew of the Torah. We never go a week without reading from the Torah. So just over 3 weeks ago, we celebrated that holiday of concluding the Torah and beginning it anew. And for the last 3 weeks, the last 2 weeks, we've read from the portion of Breshit, the very opening book of Genesis, the story of creation of the world, the creation of Adam and Eve. And then the following week, we read of Noah and the flood that God brought upon this earth, filled with corruption and violence, saving Noah and his family and all the animals 2 by 2 on the ark. And now this week, we come to the lineage of the Jewish people itself with the portion of Lech Lecha, as God tells Abram to go forth from his native land to the land that God would show him. So, today, our B'nai Mitzvah, Ryan and Spencer and Jaclyn, are going to chant for us. So we're going to begin on page 244. They'll chant shortly after we open with the Torah service. Page 244, cantor continues.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'hador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiv v'mitzvoncha et Zion, himnei chomot Yerushalayim, himechol levad batachnu, melech el Rabben Yisa, Adon olamim.
Avu Godel Eloheinu Tnu Chavod LaTorah. Let's declare the greatness of our God and give honor to the Torah.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadlul Adonai Tiromema Shemo Yachdav.
Yours, Adonai, is the greatness, might, splendor, triumph, and majesty. Yes, all that is in heaven and on earth. To you, Adonai, belongs sovereignty and preeminence above all. We continue with our Torah service. Because of the pandemic, currently we are providing already the Torah out on the table for our B'nai Mitzvah to read from. So we have done away right now with the taking out of the Torah and gathering together at the Ark. But the Torah is out. It's rolled, as I said, to the portion of Lech Lecha, with God's command to Abram to go forth from his native land and go to the land that God will show you. And there in that land, God promises to make Abram a great nation and to bless Abram and to make his name great and that it shall be a blessing. That is our lineage. That is our heritage. And before we get to the chanting of the Torah this morning, our B'nai Mitzvah have prepared a Devar Torah, a word of Torah, a lesson about today's Torah portion. I'm going to invite you to listen as we're going to begin. Let's see, who's going first? Are we kids going first, or Jaclyn, you want to go first? Jaclyn's going to go first, because Jaclyn's going to be chanting from the Torah too. So I'm going to call upon Jaclyn to come up and share some words of Torah with us all.
The Torah told a story of Abram and how he went through name changes through his life. When Abram was 100 years old, Eternal came to him and asked him to follow him. He told Abram he would be father of a multitude of people. Abraham means father of many people. He was given instructions by God to observe covenants and multiply. He was to father children through handmaids. He was also to ensure a name change of Abraham, father of all. His wife would also change names. Instead of Sarai, his wife would now be called Sarah. She was 90 years old. Sarah means princess. It's funny how we encounter name changes throughout our life. I was born and given the name of Jaclyn at birth, named after my father's friend, Jaclyn Smith, who some of us know as one of his Charlie's Angels. Well, my father's name is Charlie too, so perhaps I was born and told to be his angel. A few months later, I was given my Jewish name of Hava Penina, named after my great-grandpa Pete. These were all names given by my parents, all at a time when I was to abide by the rules of my parents and told to see the world as they defined it. With knowledge that I was able to obtain through my studies, I graduated from law school at 24, followed by passing the bar. This allowed me to sign letters as Jaclyn Teskler, Esquire. My first job as an attorney was with FPL in Miami. As one of the youngest people in my assigned department, the staff referred to me as Princesa Esquire, Spanish for princess attorney. Some of you still see that name today as my registered Instagram address. In 2004, I married Jason, and Rabbi Silvers bestowed upon me the name of wife. One of my first duties as wife was to change my last name to Brodie. I now was referred to by my peers as attorney Jaclyn Brodie. I even got a new nameplate on my office door denoting this change. Not too long after I was married, I had another name change of assistant vice president general counsel at a collections office in Florida. Thereafter, I was in charge of an entire department and got to bring forth new ways in which this company could collect against creditors. With this new position, I was referred to by my peers as the one in charge. Most significantly, I was blessed with two wonderful children. Upon their birth, I was no longer referred to Jaclyn, attorney, or the one in charge. Now it was mom, mommy, Please help me find this and that, and what's for dinner? Those words are the most important words that define me now. Consequently, the name I was born with seems to have been lost in my daily activities inside the home. Today, I'm so lucky to become a bat mitzvah. I can share this name change today with my 2 children at this B'nai Mitzvah on October 16, 2021. I'm so happy that I'm here having this name change with the rabbi that married me and gave me the name of wife. And how special it is that I'm doing such a great Jewish tradition with my 2 children in front of all my fabulous friends and family. This very place where I watch my children march down these very aisles every week for Shabbat since they were 1. I want to thank Neil Marcus for all his tutoring sessions and to Rabbi Silvers for coming out of retirement today to perform this Bat Mitzvah service, B'nai Mitzvah service. Also a special thank you to Michelle and Trevor Keys. Michelle, you literally dropped your groceries for me, and I will never forget that. And your 3 girls, I named them Ryan's fairy godmothers. Not only did they look after my kids each summer at camp, but they also opened up a shopping mall at your house in the middle of COVID so she could find a dress. And also, to all of my great family and amazing friends, I'm truly grateful to all of you, as there will always be trouble in the road we call life, but having such wonderful friends definitely makes the ride a whole lot better. And a final shout out to my husband, Jason, who, thank God for his short-term memory recall from the night past. He allows me to poke him incessantly through the night and early morning to run me a bath, give me a pill, or to start my morning off in order to be there as a mother for both my children. Thank you all for today.
Thank you, Jaclyn. Now, Ryan Spencer, you're going to share some words of Torah as well. So let's listen first as Spencer. Just make sure you're in front of the mic, Spence.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
As most of you know, I was supposed to have my bar mitzvah last year, but you never know what could happen from one day to the next. You have to take each day as it happens and be prepared to make adjustments. If anything in the last year and a half has showed us is that you do not take anything for granted. You never know what the future holds. When dealing with the future, you never know what occurs in your past could come back to haunt you. This is especially true if you are not always a truthful person. In my Torah portion, it talks about Abraham and Sarah traveling to Egypt, where Pharaoh was the ruler. Abraham tells his wife Sarah to pretend that she is his sister. The reason he tells her this is because he believes that if they tell Pharaoh that Sarah is his wife and she is so beautiful, that Pharaoh will kill him and keep Sarah for himself. Abraham believes if Pharaoh believes Sarah is his sister, then he will not kill him. Abraham was correct in his assumption that he thought that Pharaoh would see Sarah's beauty and attract his attention as Sarah was taken into Pharaoh's house, and many gifts were given to Abraham. As a result of this, God, who was protecting Abraham, unleashed plagues upon Pharaoh. When Pharaoh found out that Sarah was Abraham's wife, he said to Abraham, "Why don't you tell me the truth?" Pharaoh had both of them banished from the land, and they had to leave immediately. This passage has a lot of meaning in it. It shows that dishonesty and lies are not the way to live. Had Abraham been honest, the plagues would not have happened. Abraham and Pharaoh could have lived different lives, and because of this, a lot of collateral damage occurred as a result of the unnecessary lies. We have to look at the root of the lie. It is clear that Abraham wasn't protecting Sarah. He was protecting himself. He is being selfish, regardless that Sarah was his wife or a sister of Abraham. He was going to live. Abraham believed that he needed to lie in order to save his life. We never know if that is the case now. We only know what occurred as a result of the lie. The outcome could have been tremendously different if one lie led to another, and where there is no longer the ability to tell lies from the truth. The most important thing to me is somebody that has honor and integrity. Once you lie, people start to distrust you. You have to always be straightforward and honest with people. Even if you think the outcome is not going to be in your favor, you need to be honest. Dishonesty creates havoc. Havoc can change lives in the direction of people's lives. Knowing what Abraham was doing, he thought he was only telling a little white lie that Sarah was his sister. White lies can have the same damaging effects as lies, whereas the line between lies and white lies, aren't white lies just lies? Is there any difference? They are both dishonest. They are both to deceive. It had been said and told over and over again that today as a bar mitzvah, I am a man. Well, what kind of man do I want to be? Do I want to be a man that people know and trust? Do I want to be a man that people look at and cannot believe anything I say? I want to be a man with honesty and integrity. I want my word to be golden. I want people to be able to trust what I say. In order to do that, I need to be straightforward and truthful in everything I do. Whenever at home, school, or eventually work, I need to make sure that I always say the truth whenever it benefits me or not. Even when the truth does not benefit me, the truth will always help me in opportunities that always arise when people believe in you. This past summer, I did not know if I wanted to go back to camp. Outwardly, I did say, I don't care. But inwardly, I did care. I was not being truthful with my parents when I said I did not care. I did not care, but I did care. But I had not been to camp in 2 years, and I did not know if it would be different. Instead of expressing that, I expressed something different. That's something I did not want in the future. I should have said, I enjoyed being home last summer, enjoyed spending time with my family, and I never had the opportunity to do that over summer in a few years. And I really enjoyed it. On the other hand, I really have a great time at camp, and I'm very fortunate that I get to spend a lot of time with my camp family and my friends, as well as everybody associated with it. Thanks to my parents, I'm able to enjoy that. This is why it was important to me to do my B'nai Mitzvah project, where I was able to help children that are not able to go to camp otherwise and able to go to camp this summer. We worked with our close family friends, the Red Meat Lovers Club, and held an event that raised over $12,000 to send at least 15 children to camp. This summer, this is something that is very important to me since they would not otherwise be able to experience it. I am happy that I'm not the only one becoming a bar mitzvah, but I am able to share this very special day with both my mother and my sister Ryan. Very few people get that. By postponing my bar mitzvah, we were able to all be together on the bima. I want to thank my mother for always being there for me, being the person that I can trust. I want to thank my father for helping me do whatever I need, and to do that is always in attendance at my games. I want to thank my sister Ryan for being there. Also, I want to thank everybody who helped me getting ready for today. I want to thank Rabbi Silvers, and the Cantor, and Neil. I also want to thank Nana, Mimi, and Choo Choo. I could not be here today without all of you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today for me and my family. I'm glad I could share this special occasion with all of you.
Thanks, Spencer. Ryan. Look, we get a triple dose of Torah today. How great is that? All right, Ryan, if you need to move the microphones down a little bit so we hear you. You know, Ryan, I always ask the B'nai Mitzvah kids not to be taller than me before their bar bat mitzvah. So thank you. I appreciate your staying short until after this.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My Torah portion on chapter 12 talks about Abraham, Sarah, and his nephew Lot. Abraham brought his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, following God's instructions, and took the well that they had acquired and traveled to an area that would later become Israel. When they got to the land, Abraham and Lot had a dispute. The dispute got so bad that Abraham offers Lot to separate the land. Even though they are family, they thought it was best that they could no longer live together and separate their land and their castle. Lot accepts the peace deal for one portion of the land. This passage has a lot of meaning in it. It shows about family disputes, and it shows how to resolve disputes. It seems like every day there are disputes in life, whether it's family disputes at school, with other kids, or whatever it might be. Now the question is not that one are disputes, but how you handle them. You need to understand what the issues are and what each person's position is. You have to identify the problem and how it's going to be fixed. You have to understand each other's position before you get entrenched. If you don't step in somebody else's shoes and understand what they are thinking and why they are thinking it, then you are never going to be able to see the world the way somebody else sees it. This is very important because if you are able to do this, then maybe the disputes or discussions on different issues that arise in everyday life, whether in school, work, or in your home, can be resolved. In order to understand what the dispute was between Abraham and Lot, you have to look at their perspective. Abraham muzzled his cattle, so they only grazed on his land. Lot's cattle were not muzzled, and most of them were allowed to graze wherever, including Abraham's land. The cattle herdsman thought that since Abraham could not have children and Lot was more like his son, even though he was his nephew, Lot was going to get the land anyways one day, and therefore he was allowed to be on Abraham's land. Well, that may or may not be true. What happens in the future, nobody knows. So in order to resolve the dispute, you have to deal with what is happening today. Today they were both cattle herdsmen sharing land, so in order to resolve the dispute, you have to figure out what is best for today and then discuss the future. As nobody knows what the future holds, as it turns out, Abraham eventually did have children, so Lot's cattle herd's obsession was not correct. Resolving issues can also deal with negotiations. I know all about negotiations since both of my parents are lawyers. Growing up in a house with two lawyers, everybody feels like they have to get their own point across. You have to understand it's not about getting your point across, but it's how you get your point across. It's how you express yourself and how you handle yourself that shows the type of person you are. If you are able to resolve issues, especially without conflict, then it goes a long way towards being the person you want to be. When I was younger and I was with my friends, we would have disputes all the time, and it could turn into fights. As I've gotten older and becoming a bat mitzvah, I've realized that the disagreements do not need to be fights. Rather, we could work together to make each of us happy. This makes for a lot more successful life. I am happy that not only I'm becoming a bat mitzvah, but I'm able to share this special day with both my mom and my brother Spencer. Very few people get that. It shows that regardless of what occurred in this world over the last 2 years, and that my brother had to postpone his bat mitzvah, we were able to come up with a resolution that we can all be together on the beam is very special to me. The growth of becoming a girl to a woman is a very important stage in my life, and the maturity that you can obtain from understanding how to resolve conflict is a never-ending process, and you continue to learn every day. I want to thank my mom for always being there for me, being the person I always can trust. I want to thank my dad for helping me do whatever I need to do and just be there for me. I want to thank my brother Spencer just for being there, especially when we are away at camp. It is very important this summer to be back at camp. I realized how fortunate I was able to spend time at such a beautiful place with my friends. Not everybody has the opportunity to do so. And that's why we did our B'nai Mitzvah project. We teamed up with Scope, which is a foundation that allows children who might not otherwise be able to go to camp to enjoy camp the way I do. I think it's important maternity lesson to be away from home for 7 weeks each summer. It enables a person to grow and become a better person. With the help of my family, friends, and the Red Meat Lovers Club, we raised over $12,000 and are sending at least 15 children that otherwise would not be able to go to camp this summer. This was very important to me, and I am glad I was part of it. Also, I want to thank everybody that helped me get ready for today. I want to thank Rabbi Silvers for ever doing this for us, the cantor Neil. I also want to thank Anna, Mimi, and Juju. I couldn't be here without you. My whole life revolves around getting thrown up in the air, trying to flip backwards, jumping high enough, having to balance, or I fall to the ground and flipping on the hard floor. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today for me and my family. I'm glad I could share this day with all of you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Spencer, and thank you, Jaclyn. You know, we all make journeys in life, just like Abraham was called to go forth and go to a new land, a new place. And if you think for a minute about what that all entails, Abraham growing up, having his friends, being a kid, his parents, his dad grows up in a foreign land. Well, he grows up in the only land he knows. It might be foreign because he ultimately resides in the biblical land of Israel, but for him it's home. Can you imagine being called and being asked to leave everything you love, everything that you know, everything that's familiar, and take a journey? And take a journey not based on what your father's telling you, not what your friends are suggesting to you, but a God that you never heard of, a God you don't know. But Abram feels that calling. On this day today, we know that for Spencer and Ryan, this is part of the journey that every Jewish child makes to become bar and bat mitzvah. But today I especially want to commend Jaclyn. This was something that's outside the norm, where we have parents that teach us and educate us and expect us to become bar and bat mitzvah. But for Jaclyn, she heard this calling, just like Abram. And Jaclyn, it's outside the norm, and it's commendable, just like Abraham, who took a journey outside the norm and what was comfortable for him. Yet you put yourself out there and you decided to listen to the calling that you had. And here you are together with Ryan and Spencer, celebrating this very special and awesome day. This is the journey we expect of our children and how we raise our children, but not necessarily the journey of an adult. And I say to all of you, listen to that inner voice. Listen to the calling. Take a chance. Journey forth. Follow the voice and the commitment and the calling you have. And just like Abraham, God tells him he will be a blessing. I truly believe this is a blessing for all of us here to see not only Ryan and Spencer called to the Torah, but Jaclyn as well. So, we are going to continue with the chanting and reading of the Torah. So if you want to follow along, if you grabbed a big Torah book, or you can just listen, we're going to call Jaclyn first. She's going to chant, and then followed by Ryan and Spencer. So Jaclyn, let's see. Tamod, habachora habat mitzvah la'aliyah Torah. Jaclyn's going to do the blessing before, chant from the portion of Lech Lecha, and then the blessings after. Blessing before, Jaclyn. Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Go ahead, Jaclyn. Yeah. Yeah.
Vayomer Adonai El Avram Lech Lecha Me'artzecha Umimolatecha Umebeit Avecha El Haaretz Asher Arecha Ve'escha Legoy Gadol Va'ava Rechecheha Va'adadla Shemecha Ve'ye Beracha.
And now the blessing after, Jaclyn.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Et Torah Emet V'heye olam nata b'tohenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Well done, Jaclyn. All right, kids. Ryan, see what you can do as good as mom. Tamod habachura habat mitzvah le'aliyah Torah. We call Ryan forth as bat mitzvah today. Blessing before Ryan. Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Vahed.
Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu Torah etzel Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Va'ar v'har mevareha kaleha aor v'nivrehu v'hakol neshbehu ahadema v'yiled Avraham ka'asher tebe'er Allah Adonai v'yilek eto lo ve'Avraham v'hamesh shanim v'shivi shala b'tzeto ve'haran.
And the blessing after, Ryan.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayeh olam nata b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you, Ryan. Spencer? Ta Yamod Habachura Bar Mitzvah Aliyah Torah. We call Spencer Brodie forth as Bar Mitzvah. Blessing before, Spencer.
Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvara Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch Adonai Hamvara Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher baha banu mikol ha'amim. Ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayika Avraham et Sarai ishto ve'ilo ve'nahiv ve'ekol rehasha asher rahashu ve'hanefesh asher asu ve'haran yayazu v'alehet arta Canaan vaya'avohu arta Canaan vaya'avor Avram Va'aretz ad mekom shehem ad elon moreh vehokna'ani az ba'aretz.
Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayeh olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Jaclyn,
Simen tov, a mazel tov, a
Ryan,
mazel tov,
join
a simen
Spencer
tov,
at the
simen tov, a
table.
mazel tov, a
Jason,
mazel
you
tov, a
too.
simen tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, a simen tov. Yehelanu. Simen tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, a simen tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, a simen tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, a simen tov. Yehelanu. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. David Melech Yisrael, Ahevekayam. David Melech Yisrael, Ahevekayam. Simen tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, a simen tov, a mazel tov, a simen tov, Yehelanu.
So on this very joyous occasion, I know that Jaclyn and Jason want to offer some words to their children. So let's pay attention. Cantor's going to roll up the Torah quick, put it aside, so that Jason and Jaclyn can share some words and express their delight on this very special occasion. Ryan Spencer, you get right in there in the middle, so Mom and Dad can share a few words. And Jaclyn, Jason, make sure you speak into the mic so everybody here in the sanctuary and the live stream can hear.
Spencer, well, now according to Jewish law, you now have become a man. Does that mean you can finally own your own fidelity account to trade as you see fit? Will you get your very first credit card? And will you now be given the responsibility to make your bed instead of having someone else make it for you? Well, those are questions we will encounter and work together to find the best answer in the upcoming future. But the one question we can undoubtedly confirm is yes, you are a man now. Our little boy has become a man. If we didn't know it before, we now have to accept the reality based on the fact you are now shaving. We knew it before, but didn't have to accept it. We actually observed it from afar while you were at camp this past summer. We have told you each summer before you go to Tyler Hill Camp, please take care of your sister and make sure she gets extra hugs from you on siblings night and when she misses home. Now, I know you love to hang with Ryan when you're bored and you're a great big brother, but when you go to camp and you see your friends you hadn't seen in a year, it's not always a priority for you to remember your brotherly responsibilities. However, we were able to see the actions of a man this past summer. We read it in the letters Ryan sent us and how often she hung out with you and your friends. And well, most astonishing, when you told us you hugged her when you saw her the night she was crying on a Friday night that they announced that they were most likely canceling visiting day. You comforted her that night, notwithstanding that you had your own emotions and that you too had to encounter your feelings. You acted as a man that would put aside his own issues and bothers to take care of someone else in need. You stepped up when Mom and Dad could not be there, and we are so thankful for your giant heart. This was later confirmed when you received your when we received your 4-page tractology reciting your anxiety about the Delta variant and the cancellation of visiting day. Over 4 pages and 4 letters labeled parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of 4, you expressed nervousness of the spread of the virus, how it impacted visiting day. You told us you couldn't sleep. You denoted the time and where you were in over 3 hours when you should have been sleeping in your bunk. You assured us that you took care of your sister, comforted her, and that almost everybody cried, but you held it in. It was only through this 4-page letter that you came clean on how emotionally unsound you were about not seeing us as you should be. No offense for this comment, but thank God you missed us, or Dad and I have totally screwed up in this parenting thing. And that was by Jaclyn. Remember, you are still our child. No matter how much of a man you are, I hope you do know you can always tell us how you feel. But we are also happy that you have turned out to be a great man, a man that we are so proud to call our son. From the first week we brought Ryan home, you surprised us with your warmth, your heart taking care of what you called her, baby Ryan, and helping to feed her and helping to bathe her, because you were such a great big brother. It was you she called early in the morning through the monitor to tell you she had a poopy diaper or that she was up. Sometimes you would run down the steps into my room and tell me your sister was up, and Mommy pointed a finger to me at each other as to who was to go upstairs to clean it, which we know I always did. I still remember picking you up from Pinecrest Camp when it was raining, this is Mommy's part of it, that you would have Ryan under one arm and Sienna or Sarah under the other, as the girls were deathly afraid of thunder while you were there waiting to be picked up. You are so smart, and although I seem a bit annoyed, both of us seem annoyed, when we ask us to help you, and with Mom asking late at night to help with your matrices or your vertex or some infinite equation that can't be solved, because you come down and ask us at 11 o'clock at night, and we can't, and Mom at that point in time can't decipher the numbers, and I'm exhausted. But we're truly glad that you still come and trust that we are there for you and that we can help you with your homework. And we do realize after it's all done that we are lucky that you come to us for help. We can't imagine a day without you in it. You have so much love for your family and friends, and it shows every day. If you look around right now and you see you have all of your friends here, you have some camp friends here and people watching on the live stream, friends from school, your grandparents are here, your aunts, uncles, cousins, who are all present to spend this special day with you. We love you so much, and no speech or mathematical formula can express the love and gratitude we have for you, as we are so excited for your journey you now have ahead of you as a man. We know that you have accomplished as a boy, and we can't wait to see what you will accomplish as a man. You will read? You want me to do it?
Go ahead.
All right, I'll read it. Written by Jaclyn, I'm reading it. All right, Ryan. This past May, you asked me, why did you send me to camp when I was 7? You continued, just because I wanted to go, you shouldn't listen to a child. Well, Mom said, I thought it would be better together, as the thought of separating you and Spencer was inconceivable. And so the two of you went through security at the airport for the first time together without a parent. Mom and I watched from a corner at a distance with glasses fogged up and covered with tears. But then we saw the younger sibling take care of her older brother as he tried to go into a different line and you redirected him. A few minutes later, he needed help putting his belongings back in his take-on bag. And you, just out of first grade, didn't hesitate to help put his stuff in his bag. It was watching the two of you figure it out that enabled me, Jaclyn, to wipe my tears on the end of my sleeve, turn around and say to your dad, they really are better together. This year you started middle school, and in 2 months we have seen such an incredible progression. How you handle yourself in different situations now is quite evident from when you were younger. The maturity you're showing now is quite visible. Where you used to hold back emotions of sadness, confusion, or a simple need for help, you now articulate how you are feeling and what you need to continue to succeed with your friendships, with schoolwork, and in the home. Your responsibility of your schoolwork is impeccable. Likewise, you help take such great care of Sophie and make sure that she has her morning pill before you leave the house. And I don't need to even mention how engaged and serious you are with cheer. You work so hard to make the senior team. Now you get to wear a crop top for comps, but even better, you are a flyer. Even older girls base you and catch you after you have been thrown in the air. This is definitely not a talent you inherited, but something rather you learned all on your own through perseverance and growth. Most importantly, listening to your coaches and accepting challenges that you were faced with. It is evident that our little girl is no longer a little girl, since you can now share clothes with your mom and her makeup as well. You and Mom are also sharing hair ties and wrinkle cream. This is now Jaclyn speaking. It was so funny to get a call from camp asking me to send you Neutrogena Hydro Boost. It used to be stickers, fidgets, and toys. Now it's wrinkle cream, or for you, it should be Preventing Wrinkles Now cream, along with KDJ, this and that. Wow. You're such a big girl, or should we say a young woman, as the title you earned today on this bima. Your progression for a child into a young woman is happening before our eyes and is incredible to watch. So today, as we stand here on this bima, we find it so grand that you and your brother were able to become a bar and bat mitzvah together, because it truly is better together. We are both so proud of you, as you have grown up to be such an amazing, sweet, and vibrant girl. You have a laugh that is so contagious and causes others to smile. And it was my honor to take part in your bat mitzvah with you. As mother and daughter, we will always have a bond, and you will always be the one who can smile at Daddy and get what you ask for. Please don't abuse this power. Please don't. Daddy and I are so proud of the young woman you have become. We hope you continue to inspire to be different, because that is what makes you irreplaceable. We love you.
Beautiful words. Now, you guys stay there, because we're also going to invite Charles, the kid's grandfather, Jaclyn's father, to come up and share a few words, followed by Grandma Barbara as well. So, Charles, you come up first.
I'll try and keep it short. All three of you have made me very proud. I don't know how to tell you this, but I know that your grandparents that are not here, your great-grandparents, are smiling, because I never expected what I got today. The gift you gave me, you especially, Blondie, okay? I never thought would happen. I never thought I'd live long enough to see it. I never thought I'd be here to share it. You asked me once, or told me once, you didn't believe in God. Remember that? Do you believe in him now? But it's a good answer. You know why? You're learning. Because God is everything and everywhere when you want him to be. It's not always what he does, it's what you do. Keep trying. Just be the best you can. I learned that a sphinx can actually speak. Thank you for that. You made me very proud, more than you'll ever know. And you too. You made me very proud for what you did with them. Thank you. Thank you all.
First of all, I want to say I am so happy that family and friends are here today to share this special occasion with us. Next, I want to tell Jaclyn how very proud I am of you. You did a wonderful job. Next, Spencer, I got to tell you, when Daddy called me and said that you asked him that you wanted me to speak about you and Ryan today, you made me so proud, and I was very honored. Start with Spencer. Spencer, the day you were born was one of the best days of my life. It was so special. Not only were you my first grandchild, but that is the day I became a nana. Being a grandparent is the best job in the world. I was very fortunate since I lived 5 minutes from you. Your parents loved it, because when you didn't want to go to sleep, my phone would ring, and sure enough, I would drive over, and Daddy would put you in the car seat, and I would drive up and down Clipmore Road till you fell asleep. You were my date on weekends when we would go to dinner and come home and play games. And many times you and Ryan would sleep over. I will never forget the first movie, Hop, I took you to. You didn't stop laughing. I enjoyed every minute I spent with you. We enjoyed many vacations together, especially on all the cruises. When Mommy and Daddy went on vacations and I stayed with you and Ryan, we had so much fun. Where has all the time gone? Yesterday you were a little boy, and today you are a man. Whenever I have a computer or iPhone problem, you are always there to help me. I still can't believe you built your own computer. I love going to all your basketball, soccer, and baseball games. I am so proud of the young man you have become. Today is your bar mitzvah, a very special milestone in your life and in the life of your family. In the Jewish religion, you go from being a much-loved boy to a much-loved man. I have loved being on this journey with you, and I can't wait for the next chapter in our lives to begin. Spencer, I love you very much. Now, Ryan. When you were born, it was the second best day of my life being a nana, because now I had a granddaughter. I loved going with you every week to Little Gym. That is where you started to love gymnastics. Although you went to dance classes that you were not crazy about, I had to bribe you by going to the bakery downstairs afterwards. I loved going to your gymnastic competitions, but the best time I had was this year going with you to Tampa for your cheer competition, and you were fantastic. You and Spencer spent many weekends when we would go to dinner and come home and play games, and many times you slept over. Your favorite things to do was bake pumpkin seeds at Halloween, cooking with me, that we still do now. I will never forget when you and Spencer and me had dinner at the Cheesecake Factory. I think you were 2 years old. I looked across the table, and you were not there. The waiter put the booster seat too close to the edge, and you fell under the table. You could not stop laughing. I have enjoyed every minute I spent with you. We went on many vacations together and many cruises. When Mommy and Daddy went on vacations and I stayed with you and Spencer, we had so much fun, especially going to Sugar Sand Park on the up and down horses. Where has all the time gone? Yesterday, you were a little girl, and today you are a young woman. I am so proud of you. Today is your bat mitzvah, a very special milestone in your life, as well as mine. Words are not enough to express my happiness for you. I have enjoyed being on this journey with you, and I am looking forward to sharing the next chapter of your life. Ryan, I love you very much. Before I kiss you, with all your friends and relatives here today, it gives me the opportunity to tell both of you now how blessed and proud I am to be your Nana. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Barbara. So, stay right there, guys. So first of all, I just want to, so Jason, under the table, you're going to see some two wrapped gifts. We have some presentations to make to Spencer and Ryan today. Those gifts that Dad's holding is from the Brotherhood here of Congregation B'nai Israel. That's for the two of you. And then on the top of the table, Jaclyn, right, you see the packages wrapped at the top of the table. There's one for Spencer and one for Ryan, which come from the Sisterhood of Congregation B'nai Israel. Inside yours, Spencer, is a Kiddush cup in hopes that you will mark the sacred times and seasons of Jewish life by making Kiddush. And Ryan, in yours, there's a set of candlesticks that you too can light candles. I also have for you both, actually for all three of you, I have your certificates. Jaclyn, I have your certificate that states that Chava Penina bat Bitzalel Ublima Leah was called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah today, the Shabbat of Lech Lecha, on October 16, 2021, here at Congregation B'nai Israel. Spencer, yours says Yankel Beryl, ben Shimshon Isser v'Chava Penina was called to the Torah. And Ryan, yours says Yehudit Leah, bat Shimshon Isser v'Chava Penina was called to the Torah as bat mitzvah. And as well, for all three of you, from the Board of Trustees here at Congregation B'nai Israel, we have your own copy of the Torah books we use, a small miniature travel edition of the Torah books we use here in the congregation. Each one is inscribed for you. Jaclyn, yours is inscribed, as are Ryan's and Spencer's. I'm going to return those and give those to you shortly in a minute. But I want to share a couple words with you. Jaclyn, as I said before, this is a calling which you felt moved to accomplish and join your children on this very special occasion, and we commend you. Certainly Abram also was an adult when he heard his calling, and it's really special and very celebratory when an adult feels the calling to do this, and to share it with your kids and have them share this special day with you means so much. Ryan, Spencer, and I'll share it with all of you, the Torah portion's name is Lech Lecha. which literally means go to yourself. What does it mean to go to yourself? God says to Abraham, Lech lecha, go to yourself. We understand it's go make this journey, but it literally means go to yourself. I think it means be proud of who you are, a Jew, a member of the household of Israel. In your Torah portion, God chose Abraham, but Abraham also chose God. He chose to listen and do what God asked of him. You too should consider yourself like Abraham. In Abraham's time, the whole success of Judaism and its future depended upon him, just as we believe our future is dependent upon our kids. There was nobody else around to shoulder the responsibilities of building a Jewish life. To a significant extent, the same is true today. Upon your shoulders, Spencer and Ryan, to be responsible members of the Jewish community will rest the obligation and great privilege of perpetuating Jewish life and contributing to the development of every aspect of our religion and culture. That's why we gave you those lovely gifts, that you could use them at holidays and on Shabbat. For that reason, everybody, especially a bar and a bat mitzvah, starting out on what we hope will be a long road of quality living and devotion to the principles of our faith, should also consider themselves as the first Jew, just like Abraham. Abraham's flight from his ancestral home in Haran and his initial contact with God marked only not the birth of a new religion, but also the beginning of a spiritual revolution. Yet the first Hebrew is not remembered as a great theologian or as a profound religious thinker. The Torah rather depicts Abraham as a man of action, as a human being with a deep capacity to display compassion. In this regard, Abraham became an example to all future generations. His life embodied a deep commitment to gemilut chasadim, acts or deeds of loving kindness. We heard in your Devar Torahs the beautiful deeds and acts that you did to help others. And what we hope from you is that you will continue to act compassionately in the world, continue to help those in need, seek to better our world and improve the human condition. Then just like God told Abraham, you shall be a blessing, you too shall be a blessing, not only to your parents and your extended family, but to the Jewish people and to our whole world. Amen. All right, so Mazel Tov to all of you. We shep lots of nachas on this joy. And just as you said, Jaclyn, it's my pleasure and privilege to be here today as we stood there 17 and a half years ago as the two of you became husband and wife. What a pleasure it is to see how the family has grown and how you have all grown. And we pray that you will continue to grow and continue to be a blessing to all your family and our community. All right, so we're going to conclude. Are we going to conclude now, Cantor, with Aleinu?
You're the rabbi.
I'm the retired rabbi. And you know what? I should say, Barbara, God bless you. Barbara worked here for many, many years. It was a pleasure. I worked with Barbara for many, many years here. And Candace grew up here too, as did Jason. What a joy and privilege it is to see all you guys grown up and to be here and celebrate this day. And it's a joy for me to come and be here today with you as well. All right, we're going to turn to page 282 in our prayer books. I'm going to invite everybody to kindly rise as we're going to conclude with Aleinu, the bottom of 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latei gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu k'gayei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we remain standing, we recall now our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing. Page 294, for those who wish, we join together in the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitgadash me rabbah, be'alma divrach hiruteh ve'amlich malchuteh, be'chayechon uvyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, bagala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lomei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who makes peace on high send peace and comfort to all who mourn and all the bereaved among us, and we say amen.
Amen.
Have a seat, everybody. I think we'll conclude with something very joyous. What do you think? Ein Kelohenu?
Sure.
That works for me. Page 322, if I remember correctly.
You have.
All these months of retirement, I still remember.
Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkenu, ein Kemoshienu, mi Kelohenu, mi Chadonenu, mi Kemalkenu, mi Kemoshienu. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, let us all be like Abram, to hear of your voice in our world, commanding us, obligating us to be a blessing unto others. Help us, O God, to be your hands in this world, to help lift up the fallen, to clothe the naked, to feed the hungry. Then indeed will we be the people you have commanded us to be, a people of justice, of righteousness, and we pray always a people of peace. Bruchim atem bevoachem, we are blessed in that we have come. Bruchim atem b'tzeitchem, may we be blessed now as we go forward from this gathering of the Lord. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. You got all this. Oh.